It feels like every single day there's some new headline, right? A huge scientific leap or some big shift in the global economy.
Yeah, it really does. The pace is just, wow.
It's not just fast, it feels like it's speeding up. Like we're on this express train of transformation and figuring out where we're actually heading. That seems more important now than ever.
Absolutely crucial.
So today, that's exactly what we're doing. We're taking a deep dive into navigating, well, what looks like a decade of massive economic and technological transformation. We want to pull back the curtain a bit on the key shifts experts think are coming over the next 10 years. Just to give you a clearer picture, of what might be around the corner and how it could impact your world.
That's right. And for this deep dive, we've really dug into a comprehensive overview. It outlines these pretty significant shifts, both economic and technological.
Okay.
It kind of acts like a roadmap, I suppose, for the future. It touches on areas that, honestly, could fundamentally change how we live, how we work, how we interact.
Right. So, our mission here for you, listening in, is to pull out the most important nuggets from this, the key takeaways.
Exactly.
We want you to understand these changes, maybe spot some emerging opportunities, and really get why being adaptable is going to be so critical.
Couldn't agree more.
So, if we're on that express train, let's get going. Maybe start with the engine, the tech that's driving so much of this.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, so this journey into the next decade, it really starts with what the source material calls a technological tsunami. That sounds pretty dramatic.
It does, but maybe accurate. It's not just small improvements we're talking about. It sounds more like a foundational shift.
Right. And what's interesting in this analysis is how it zooms in on 3 specific things, right? They're interconnected, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. They focus on artificial general intelligence, or AGI.
What?
Quantum computing.
Still sounds like sci-fi to me, but okay.
Yeah, I know. And the third one is something often overlooked, apparently. The massive energy demands that AI brings with it.
The energy cost. Let's start with AGI then. What's the big deal there? Isn't AI already everywhere?
Well, yes and no. What we mostly have now is narrow AI, good at specific tasks.
Like my chatbot or navigation app.
Exactly. AGI is different. The overview talks about AI that can understand, learn, and apply intelligence across, well, almost any task, like a human.
Okay, that is different.
It's positioned not just as better AI, but almost like a meta skill. Imagine an AI that can learn how to learn anything.
Whoa.
Making expert-level intelligence scalable, instantly shareable. It's less about automating tasks and more about automating innovation itself.
Automating innovation, that's a big thought. It could really shake up entire industries.
Profoundly, yes. That's the potential they outline. Then you've got quantum computing.
Right, the sci-fi part.
Well, the research suggests real breakthroughs in the next decade are actually quite likely.
Okay, so what does it do differently?
Think of it less like a faster calculator and more like a system that explores millions of possibilities all at once, simultaneously.
To find the best solution.
Exactly. For problems that are just impossible today. Designing new materials atom by atom, maybe. Supercharging drug discovery. Creating unhackable communication.
Okay, so tackling really huge challenges.
Challenges way beyond our current computers, yeah. And this is big but these advancements, especially AGI.
You need power. The energy demand you mentioned.
A lot of power. The material really stresses this. As AI gets adopted more widely, especially AGI, the computation needed just skyrockets.
So we're not just talking about phone chargers.
No. Think massive data centers sucking up huge amounts of electricity. It could seriously impact global energy needs, our infrastructure.
That link, the cutting-edge tech needing brute force energy, that's critical. It's easy to forget the physical infrastructure behind the digital magic. So from the source's view, what's the biggest, maybe unexpected consequence of all this energy use? Beyond just higher bills, what might nations or industries really struggle with?
That's a great question. And the overview suggests it goes beyond just cost. It points to geopolitical implications.
How so?
Well, energy scarcity or energy control. Nations that have lots of reliable, maybe sustainable energy could get a huge strategic edge in this AI race.
So energy becomes a strategic asset, even more than now.
Exactly. It could lead to new kinds of resource competition, maybe even conflict, though hopefully not. It also flags the huge investment needed in new energy infrastructure.
Which could pull money from other places.
Right. Or make energy inequality worse between nations. And it's not just about building more power plants. The type of energy matters.
Pushing green tech.
Yeah, pushing it not just for climate reasons, but for national security. for economic power in this new AI-driven world.
Wow. Okay. So the real cost of AI isn't just the silicon chips, it's plugging it all in. And that shapes global politics.
Seems that way.
It really shows how the digital world slams right into the physical one. And it's not just energy grids. The analysis also points to changes in how physical goods move around the planet, a big shift in global trade.
Indeed, that's another major point. The material highlights a potential move towards more domestic manufacturing.
Like making things closer to home again.
Yeah, potentially. It's not necessarily a complete rejection of globalization, maybe more rebalancing, a strategic one.
Driven by.
No, it doesn't pinpoint one single cause, but it strongly implies it's about making supply chains more resilient, more secure. After all the disruptions we've seen.
Makes sense. So what would that actually mean?
For supply chains, maybe shorter, more localized networks, less vulnerable to things happening halfway across the world.
Okay.
And the source suggests it's not just politics driving this, it's also economics, advanced robotics, automation. They're chipping away at the old labor cost advantages of manufacturing offshore.
So it might actually become cheaper, or at least competitive, to make things locally again.
Increasingly so, yes. The calculation changes. Making a phone or a car part closer to home becomes less about just, patriotism and more about a smarter, more resilient, maybe even more competitive local model.
And for national economies.
Could mean more self-sufficiency, more stability, maybe higher initial costs for some things, but potentially greater stability overall.
That idea of local production, especially with automation making it viable, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
But does the source talk about downsides? Like, could things get more expensive for us, the consumers? Or maybe less innovation without that intense global competition?
It does acknowledge those potential trade-offs, yeah. It suggests that, okay, initially some costs might go up, different scales, different regulations.
Right.
But the argument is that longer-term benefits like resilience, lower transport costs could balance that out. And innovation wouldn't stop, it would just shift.
Shift how?
Maybe become more regional, focused on getting things to market faster, more customization, driving a different kind of innovation.
So not the end of globalization, but maybe.
Localization.
More regional.
That's a good way to put it. The analysis suggests something like that. Proximity and being responsive become just as valuable as pure cost cutting.
Okay, so our goods might be made closer by. But how do these huge tech and economic waves affect something really personal, like our health? The material seems pretty bullish on healthcare transformation.
Oh, absolutely. The healthcare innovations highlighted are, well, they're pretty astounding. It focuses on three main areas.
Which are?
3D medical printing, gene editing, and the continued growth of telehealth.
Okay, 3D printing for medical stuff. Like what?
We're talking about things that could really revolutionize personalized medicine. Imagine printing organs for transplant.
Printing organs. Seriously.
That's the potential. Or custom prosthetics that fit perfectly. Bespoke medical devices tailored to your specific body. The source talks about this move to on-demand biological solutions, not just organs, maybe even custom drug delivery systems, moving away from one-size-fits-all to totally tailored healthcare.
So you're saying the wait list for a kidney might eventually become a queue for a really advanced 3D printer. That's mind-bending.
Exactly. That's the kind of potential we're discussing. Then there's gene editing.
Right. That always sounds a bit scary, but also amazing.
It has profound implications. Think about treating diseases we once thought were incurable.
How?
By directly tweaking DNA. Scientists could potentially correct the genetic defects behind loads of conditions, hereditary diseases, maybe even some cancers.
So not just managing symptoms, but actually fixing the root cause, curing things.
Potentially, yes. Curing at the genetic level, it opens a door to a future where many awful illnesses could become things of the past.
That's huge. And the third one, telehealth.
Yeah, the expansion of telehealth, it obviously got a massive boost recently.
For sure.
But its role is set to grow even more. More access to doctors, especially if you're in a remote area. More convenience for routine checkups, follow-ups. It just changes how healthcare gets delivered, makes it more flexible, more patient-focused.
Printed organs, editing genes. It really does sound like a totally new era for medicine. But is the source optimistic that everyone will actually get access to this stuff, or does it flag issues with cost or getting it into the system?
It's cautiously optimistic, I'd say. It definitely emphasizes the huge potential. But yeah, it also highlights the challenges. Equity of access, getting regulatory approval, just the sheer cost of developing and rolling out these advanced therapies, those are big hurdles.
So the cutting edge stuff might be only for the wealthy at first.
It foresees a period where that might be the case initially. But the hope is, as the tech matures, gets more standard, the benefits should spread more widely. Though, that involves big policy and ethical questions, which aren't the main focus here.
Right.
Telehealth, though, that's seen as something helping access right now and continuing to do so. Kind of an equalizer for basic care, at least.
That's a really important distinction.
Okay.
So we got these incredible life-changing tech and economic shifts. Let's pivot now to something maybe broader, a societal change that hits close to home for a lot of people. The shrinking middle class. It's a trend people have talked about for a while, but this analysis says it's ongoing, maybe even deepening in the next decade.
Yes, this is highlighted as a really critical socioeconomic reality. The overview points to this continued squeeze on the middle class,
Squeeze out.
kind of from both ends. Automation potentially pushing down wages for more routine jobs,
Okay.
while at the same time the big gains seem to be going to capital or those with highly specialized skills, driving wealth concentration at the top.
Creating almost two different economies.
Exactly. It talks about two distinct consumer landscapes emerging, sometimes called an hourglass economy, wider at the top and bottom, narrower in the middle.
An hourglass economy. Okay. What does that mean in practical terms?
Well, one direct implication the material notes is a likely boost for budget retailers.
Because more people are watching their wallets.
Precisely. As more consumers become cost-conscious, whether through pressure or just shifting income, businesses focused on value are likely to see more demand.
Not just discount stores, but a general trend.
Yeah, a broader shift in behavior, seeking affordability in everyday things, groceries, clothes, you name it.
Yeah. What else?
Another big implication is for rental property investments.
Because fewer people can afford to buy homes.
That's the connection made, yes. If the middle class is shrinking, homeownership, that traditional cornerstone aspiration, becomes harder to reach for more people.
Right.
So this demographic shift reshapes housing. It makes rental properties not just, a good investment, but maybe a critical social need too, as more people rely on renting long term.
So the rental market stays strong.
Expected to remain robust, yes.
Yeah.
Competitive.
That hourglass economy idea really paints a picture. Thinking about that fundamental shift, does the overview suggest any specific signs we should look for? Things in our own communities, maybe, that would show this trend speeding up, beyond just seeing more budget stores or rental signs.
It does suggest watching for a few key indicators, yeah. Beyond those, it points to things like maybe a widening gap in access to essential services.
Okay.
Maybe a rise in gig economy work as people try to supplement income. Changes in public spending, too, as governments deal with a different kind of tax base, more polarized. And it also highlights the flip side, growth in the premium market. Luxury goods, high-end services catering to the top of the hourglass. That contrast itself is an indicator.
Seeing both ends grow while the middle feels squeezed.
Exactly. That reinforces the hourglass shape.
Okay, wow. We've covered a lot of ground.
We really have. Just to sort of recap the main areas, we kicked off with that tech tsunami, AGI, quantum computing, and crucially, their energy demands, even touching on the geopolitics of it all.
Right.
Then we shifted to global trade, that potential move towards more domestic manufacturing driven by automation and the need for resilience.
Got it.
Then the incredible healthcare leaps, 3D printing, gene editing, telehealth, and the questions around access.
Yeah, the mind-bending stuff.
And finally, we just talked about that socioeconomic picture. The shrinking middle class, the hourglass economy, and what that means for things like retail and rental housing.
And it's clear they're all linked, aren't they? None of these exist in a vacuum.
Not at all. Deeply interconnected. Each one influences the others.
So the big message here, the main takeaway from this material that we really want you, the listener, to hold on to, it's all about adaptation, isn't it?
Absolutely. That's the core theme.
Understanding these massive shifts isn't just, interesting trivia. It's about being prepared. It's about seeing which way the currents are flowing so you can navigate them. And maybe even more importantly, so you can spot and grab onto the opportunities that will definitely emerge.
Well said. Preparedness is key.
So as you think about all this, AI augmenting us, quantum tackling impossible problems, healthcare being revolutionized, economies reshaping.
It's a lot to take in.
It really is.
Maybe a final thought to leave you with, building on all that. Considering these profound shifts we've discussed, How might your own skills, your own outlook need to evolve? How do you think you'll need to adapt to really thrive in this next decade that's coming up so fast? And maybe what role could you play in shaping it?